I know a lot of people like to say, I want to be fearless, right?
Mm.
And a lot of people say, well, you can't be fearless. And to me, the definition of fearless is actually I'm going to fear less. I'm not fearless. Like
Ooh. When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run, I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision. Woo! Welcome back, everyone, to your place for everything empowerment. I am your host, Tariq Williams, and not only I am Vision of Hope, but you know what it is. It's we are Vision of Hope. You're here to be empowered. You're here to think about what it looks like to take next steps and also take some of those action steps. And luckily, once again, you're back here at the Speak Your Vision podcast. And so today, once again, another fantastic guest to assist us and talk to us a bit about the topic we have today in terms of why are you waiting until New Year's to get to those goals or quote unquote New Year's resolutions. And so we have a fantastic guest with us today. We have high performance coach, author, Alexis Carpenter. Thank you for joining us today.
oh my gosh, thank you. I'm so excited to be here. This is exciting, and I cannot wait to dive into this conversation. One of my favorites.
And we are diving right in. See, I'm not so okay. Like when I use the word dive, I'm not too excited about that because I'm not much of a swimmer. But I guess we'll dive in. Besides the point, nevertheless, let's get into it. So, Alexis, language is really important to us here on the podcast, and we always start off with a one word and we analyze it, and it sets the tone for us to move forward. So, if you could think of one word to why individuals, you know, wait to wait until New Year's to follow these goals, and their New Year's resolutions, what's one word that would describe that for us?
Mm. I so the first word that keeps coming to my mind is fear. And I think that comes in all aspects, maybe not just the new year, but that's my one word. It's coming to me.
Okay, okay. And why fear?
Fear. Well, I think that's like it paralyzes us in so many different ways. Like we get in our head, and a lot of times for me personally, I would think like I want to be courageous, I want to be brave, I want to be able to like move with things that I feel in that moment. However, there's always that, okay, maybe it's not the right time. Maybe I don't have this expertise yet, or maybe I need to get that certification. Maybe I need to go to school, or maybe I need a different wardrobe. Who knows, right? Like I need something new before I can actually step into that version. And so I think fear is really that blocker of like, well, what if I do it and I wasn't ready? What if I do it and nobody receives it? What if I
Yeah.
do it and it just wasn't meant to be? Yeah.
I'll say this. You talk about that new wardrobe piece. I'm still stuck on that. I mean, I'll say this, and I feel like a lot of guys and men or what have you are afraid to say this, but I'll still say this is a real thing. I think retail therapy is a thing for everyone. I don't know, but I
Yeah.
like some nice clothes, right? Um, but getting to that word fear, I think that's interesting because you use the keyword if in there, and I want to get to the word if in a moment. But that word fear, I actually recently ran a group coaching session about the word fear and how fear truly like what fear actually is. And someone gave me an acronym about it, and I'm up and down on the acronym. Maybe I'll mention it here in a little bit, but my big thing is fear truly is only has the power that we allow it to have over us. Would you agree with that?
1,000%. Yeah, 1,000%.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's that relationship piece. Like, what relationship do we have with it?
Mm, okay,
Yeah.
okay. So in your story and moving forward to becoming this high performance coach and everything like that, and I know that you set goals for yourself consistently. Not we're not waiting till New Year's here, listeners. All right. So but how do you overcome fear on a daily basis? And do you have some personal stories with how you got to where you are now and how fear has connected with that?
Yeah. Okay. So one in particular that's coming to mind. So I know a lot of people like to say, I want to be fearless, right?
Mm.
And a lot of people say, well, you can't be fearless. And to me, the definition of fearless is actually I'm going to fear less. I'm not fearless. Like
Ooh,
I'm not
oh.
losing it. I am just going to fear less. And so I hold on to that and I try to grab stories of like, okay, what is the worst thing that could happen? And typically I'm already living in my B scenario, that worst case scenario, right? Like what if I don't take the leap of faith on myself and start that business? Okay, I'm going to be stuck in a job that I don't love. I'm already stuck in that job that I don't love. So what else can happen, right? And so I
Mm.
start to relate to those aspects. But one in particular story that, and this was way back before I had any type of development. I wasn't into any of these types of scenarios. I was still kind of that lost girl and scared, gotten a GED, hadn't graduated high school, that girl.
Okay.
And I was working at this call center and I literally was a third grade reading level. And I remember having to read these scripts and we were trying to upsell. And I tried to read the script and it literally took me 15 minutes. And I was getting called every name in the book by this customer. And I remember being so scared inside. I had so much anxiety and I like to my core was overwhelmed. And when I got over that call, I was like, I never ever want to feel this way again. Right. My biggest fear was that happening and that
Mm.
had happened. So I was like, okay, now that I've sat in that, how can I ensure this doesn't ever happen again? I did every YouTube scenario that I could where it would like, like go through these books with me and I would get the books and I would try to read through them. It like the phonics. I can't remember like what the full name of that
Oh
is,
yeah,
but
hooked on phonics.
yeah, right. And I was like, that it works, y'all. And so I did all of these things to help myself start to be able to understand and comprehend and be able to read and write. So that was a lot of pressure, but I was like, if I can do this, if I can literally teach myself to read from third grade to whatever level. Now reading is literally one of my favorite things to do in the entire world. Like I
Wow.
every single day I make sure that I read at least 10 pages, if not more. And so I think that when we experience it, it's easier to get to that other side the next time. And if we don't think of that specific scenario, but like I can hold on to that story and say, you know what, I overcame that. And that was probably one of my biggest fears, but I can fear a little less because I overcame that and I overcame X and Y and Z and all of these other scenarios. And so now when I do it, I'm like, can I propel forward? Can I at least take one step to get me closer? That one step that's going to give me evidence that I can do it. And
Mm.
that is really like what I've been holding on to. And so when I set a goal, I'm like, I'm not going to make it some crazy goal to like, I'm going to make $1 million in the next 2 months. Like, that is not realistic for me, right? Like, I'm going to make a goal of okay, if my goal is $1 million, what is the first step I need to do? And can I do that one thing? And that
Yeah.
keeps the momentum going. And we don't want to wait until another date. The further out it is, the more scared we get. And then
Yeah.
that fear less is no longer a thing, right? Like we're fearing more. So why don't we fear less and take a step today?
I love that. I love that. I never thought about, because when people say fearless, they think no fear at all. I'm fearless. I have no fears, and I never thought about it as it literally says fear less. It doesn't say fear
Yeah.
none.
Yeah.
The word is not fear none. I don't know why. What's I don't know. That's good. I like that. I like that a lot. Um, and when you say, I want to go back to your story a little bit
Yeah.
about the 10 pages that you read a day now and everything like that, and how you struggled to read a bit there in the past with your third grade reading level and such, and how that person was using all those names and everything like that. It's really funny that we're talking about fear. And so as I was thinking about what the podcast was going to look like today, I had people choose their words every before every episode, and I don't know what words people are going to say about themselves or for the topic, okay? But it's really funny that you chose the word fear, cuz recently I just ran a group coaching session about fear, and I have a lot of my different topics, and I feel like I get some of my best thoughts when I'm mid conversation and everything like that. And when we were talking about fear and fear having the power that we give it, one thing that I was thinking about was the fact that fear has the power that we give it, true, or we could let our fear empower us to be better. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, yeah, I agree with the second scenario. I mean, I think we all start in that beginning factor, right? Like it dictates us a little bit. I think until we get the courage to say, okay, all right, I see you, I hear you, I feel you, right? But then if we can say again, like to that same story, like I took something that I was so scared of, and because I felt that, I used that to propel me forward to say, I never want to experience that again. How can I ensure that this never happens again? And
Mhm.
whether fear is there or not, like, I don't care. You're going to sit here and do your thing over here because I don't want to feel that way again. Like, I'm going to
Right.
make sure that I do everything to keep that momentum to go forward and not backward. Yeah.
Losing my vision at 16, I believe in what blind people can do. I work with blind people often, and now I've extended to work with people with all different types of obstacles and working on getting people in a direction where they feel more comfortable and can problem solve through their journeys. But when I became blind, this I wasn't always like I could do anything. I was scared as anything. I was nervous. I was like, my life isn't what I thought it could be because I no longer can see, right? I truly thought that. And so what happens is I had to admit that to myself for a second. I didn't know what my journey was going to look like or anything. I had lived my life one way for a while. And then I, as time went on, I got diagnosed with this genetic disorder called Leber's hereditary optical neuropathy. And when that happened, I really didn't know if the destiny I had for myself was gonna be even exist. I didn't even know what moving forward looked like. Um, and so having those questions about my life is interesting. And I never thought of my life as what I could see defining me until I lost my vision. Like think about it, Alexis. Like you don't we never go up to people and say, "Hey, my name's Tariq. I could see 2020 vision." Hey, my name's Alexis. I can see everything that's happening. We never do that, right?
Right.
But and I had to get through a point where my vision I had to realize that it did not define the person that I am. And I love how when you talk about a bit about your obstacles, about how your fear and the things that you didn't let that define you. You let it make you better.
Yeah. And I think we all have a starting point. There's always
Mm,
something that makes us say enough is enough. And for me, I had grown up my entire life being told what my life was going to be. I grew up like allowing other people to define my circumstance, to define how I was going to be. So I believed that, right? Like I believed I was always going to be that girl who couldn't read. I was going to, end up on the like in the system and do all of these things, and I was going to be a low life. And those are the things that I grew up hearing. So I was like, "Ooh, okay, so this is who I am." And then there came a point where I was like, "There's got to be something different. Like I don't want to feel like this anymore. I don't want to listen to what other people tell me." And that's really when it came to redefining my story. And
yeah,
the power in knowing that today is the only day, right? Like yesterday no longer exists, tomorrow doesn't exist. We don't know what that looks like. We only have the right now. So what I decide that my life is right now, what I tell you and who I tell you that I am, that is truth, right? Yeah.
let's get it. I love that. The right now. The
Yeah.
right now. So
Yeah.
right now, listeners, okay, you clicked on the video and you're listening. And right now, you're like, oh, well, my New Year's resolution is this. Well, how about making it your right now, right? So
Mm,
so what about action? Okay. We talk about fear,
yep.
and we've dismantled fear quite a bit here, but recognizing that fear is real. It is a thing. The acronym about fear was someone told me before was false evidence appearing real. And
Mm,
And I think that's interesting for so many reasons, and I like it for what it is. Um, but I want to recognize, though, with that being said, that fear is a real thing. It is a thing, and it only has the power that we let it have. And ultimately, it's about taking action. And so if you have a goal and you're thinking about your New Year's resolutions and you're thinking about the action steps to move forward,
Yeah.
um, what made you, Alexis, start taking action in terms of being a coach and all the great things that you're doing?
Yeah. So I think for me, what it was I had somebody who really took me under their wing, and
Mm,
I never experienced that before. And so it was like that guidance, that mentorship that I think maybe there is something better for me. I think maybe I could do something. And then I started to think, how can I give back? How could I be that for somebody else? And especially like younger versions of me, speaking to that past version of Alexis who was stuck in the fear, who was literally just like not able to move forward because all of the things, right? Like all of the circumstances that were kind of like a solid wall, there was no going forward. And so it was me asking for the help for one, and it was somebody saying yes. And I know
mm,
that for some people that can be really scary because they're like, I don't have that person saying yes, I don't have anybody. But what we do have, right, like our world nowadays is so amazing. Like we have podcasts, we have books, we have YouTube, we have like there are endless opportunities. It might not be a physical person that is mentoring you, but there could be one book, there could be something that we recommend right now today for somebody to pick up and they read it and it changes their life. And I think that we don't talk about those resources enough and how they can. And I also am very big about, I want to volunteer my time. I want to speak to the kids in high school. I want them to know, because we never know what people are going through at home, right? I want to be that voice of saying, you know what, I see you, I see you, I feel you, I was you, and I want you to
mm,
know that there is something better if you decide that is going to be your destiny, right? Like we can stay in the footsteps. Sometimes we can't physically change our circumstances, but
mm,
we can find an alternative method to move us in another direction. So I always say start with something that 10 minutes of motivational YouTube video, and then journaling. Like, how am I feeling? Like, how did that make me feel? And how do I feel in my day to day? That one
mm,
action. That is
mhm,
life changing. Gratitude is another big thing. We can all look at the darkness inside, but it takes a special kind of person to say, you know what, like I have been through all of this, I feel this is what my day looks like, but I am still grateful for the air that I breathe, for the family that I have, the friends that I have, that I got a hot meal today, maybe that I had
mm.
water, I was able to clothe myself, I was able to get shelter, whatever that looks like. There is at least one thing in this world that we can be grateful for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. Um, and I think when it comes to being grateful for your situation and everything that you have, I think that's when social media and different places tell us, no, you shouldn't be grateful for that because you don't have what X person has. You don't have what Y person has or Z person. You don't have any of those things. And you touched on briefly before external people saying different things about maybe what you can and can't do and everything like that. I'll say this. I strongly believe that people will tell you that you can't do certain things because they can't do them, and so they wanna put their limits on you.
Yeah. Oh, 1000%. I feel that one to my core. Um, yeah, I feel like people will say that all the time, or maybe they see the potential in you, right? Like a
Mm,
lot of because as many times as I've been told something negative, I've equally had somebody telling me like, "Ooh, there is something there is some sort of light in you that I see, like your presence. I don't know what it is about you, but just being around you, I feel this energy." And for a long time I was like, "Y'all are crazy. I don't even know what you're talking about." Like, no. But now, like being in this in a different headspace, being in a different time in my life after taking steps. And one other thing that I'll say too is that we can let the external noise define us, or we can tap in and say, do I want that to be true? Because we can either let people
Ooh,
tell our story or we can tell it. Do I want to be the successful Alexis who walks around with her head held high, knowing that I will help anybody who comes in my path? Because I want to be that. I want to be light. I want to be kindness. I want to be love. I want to be your friend. I don't like the world has enough external noise that is just nonsense. We can make that choice to be different. And I think that's where we forget, like, we have that power. The
yeah.
moment that we allow external people to define that, we lose our power. That was like standing on that stage that day, and I was like, I'm a business badass. Like, what? It wasn't the applause. It wasn't any of that. It was like, oh, hold on. Yes, that's right. Thank you. I can claim that for myself. That is who I
Yeah.
am. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And so the people listening right now, they have a goal right now.
Yeah.
And we're talking about starting. We're talking about fear. We're talking about external individuals telling what they can and can't do.
Yeah.
Where do you believe someone starts that has a goal?
Yeah. So I think depending on what the goal is,
Okay.
um, one that I like to use is if say you're working for a company and you are trying to get promoted, right? Like the way to get promoted is to say, okay, great, here's the skills that I have. What skills do I need to get to there? Like what are the expectations, the requirements? I'm going to write the list of what I've got already. I'm going to write the list of what I need. I'm not going to look at the entire list. I'm just going to check off that one thing. And if I don't have that, how can I get it? Can I watch YouTube to learn it? Can I go on Google to get certified? Because there's 100 free resources to get certified and stuff, y'all. Or do I need to find a mentor? Do I need to find a coach? Like, what does that look like to get that skill to move me forward? And also raising your hand and saying, hey, I want to learn that. Like
Hmm.
you're my leader. I look up to you. Is there any way that you and I maybe could schedule bi-weekly an hour to sit down and you teach me these things? This is the goal. Like this is really what I want to do. We typically don't get anywhere on our own. We get places by finding other people that are already where we want to be. And then we try to build relationships. My three things: communication, connection, relationships. Always.
Woo!
Always. Yeah.
Repeat those again for the people. Repeat those again for the people and tell us why.
Yes. Okay. My three pillars are communication, connection, and relationships. We got to communicate. First off, we need to communicate what we want and who we are. If we want people to think that we are somebody else, we need to say that we are somebody else.
Okay. Love it.
Connection. We need to have connection with other people. Again, we need to make sure our priorities are straight. Are we connected to ourselves? Are we connected to our family and to the people that we want to have relationships with? And again, that's where the third one comes in, the relationship. Are we prioritizing those relationships starting with yourself? Because if you have a bad relationship with yourself, you can never have a good, positive relationship with anybody else. And we can fight on those words because that, like, again, I know that through and through that the moment that we are disconnected from who we are always going to be disconnected with anybody else. And we will show up in ways that don't feel aligned. And that's where we find resistance, we find burnout, we find all of these things. And so if you can have effective communication, connection, and relationships, starting with you and then with other people, you're golden.
I love that. I love that. That's what it's all about. If you can't figure it out within self first, how are you going to figure it out with someone else or other people, right?
Yeah.
And we all go through different points in our life, parts of life where okay, I have to be this and this for that person or what have you. No. What about who you have to be for yourself, right? Because you can't go out and help other people or be there for others if you don't take care of yourself. If you can't find ways to find joy within yourself and be happy with the personality that you have, you mentioned resistance earlier.
Yeah.
Ultimately, the I truly believe in one way or another, um, I'll say this. In terms of my blindness and everything like that, I was really struggling with my identity, right? Because once again, I told you, I thought that I was defined by what I could or couldn't see.
Yeah.
But once I realized that my blindness didn't define who I was as a person, that I was still the same person who liked to joke around and have fun with my friends, et cetera,
Yeah.
ultimately, it was recognizing that the answer to any resistance is your authenticity. Your
Mm,
authentic self is your best self.
yes.
And putting yourself in situations where you can not sometimes be your authentic self, but always be that, then you know that you're always giving that authentic version of you, that always best self of you out there in the world consistently. And I think that's truly what it's all about when it comes to your quote unquote New Year's resolution. And I don't have a problem with the phrase New Year's resolution, but ultimately, I really believe if you're thinking about what 2024 is looking like for you,
Mm,
just start now.
mm, I love that. I love that so much. Yeah, start now. We only have now. Okay. We don't have tomorrow. We don't got 2024. We got right now. That's it.
Right now. Right now. So right now, Alexis, tell me, if there was one word
Mhm.
that, and you've kind of touched on this at all, we've kind of already defined it, but if there was one word that, and thinking about this, I think I have one too, and I don't typically do this part, but I'm gonna do it this time with you. If there was one word that explained to someone why they need to start now on their goals, what would it be?
Mm. Ooh, that's hard. That's a hard one. That's a hard one. I guess I'm just gonna give you my word for the year. I don't do resolutions. I do a word that I stick to. It's my theme all year long. And my word
Love
this
it.
year was actually faith. I was gonna step into faith
Faith.
out of fear. And the reason why,
Hold on, I'm sorry. Can you repeat that quote again? I love it. I want to make sure everybody did it can hear what you just said.
yeah,
Please,
yeah, yeah.
for the people.
So
Hold, is this thing on? All right, excellent. All right, everybody. The floor, Alexis, the floor is yours.
yeah, no, okay. So my word is faith. And I made at the beginning of the year, I made a pact that my word was gonna be faith. I was gonna step into faith and out of fear, right? Whoo, like I'm telling you, doors will open. And typically we are paralyzed by our fear of moving forward, even knowing wholeheartedly this is for us. Like this is the door I'm supposed to walk through, but I am going to stand here because I am too scared to walk through it. So
Yeah.
I said, you know what? I'm hands up. I'm off the wheel. I'm gonna go with whatever is directing me. I'm gonna walk with that faith, and I'm gonna walk into the door. And even when doors close, right? Like I got to listen to both sides. So the reason why I did that, okay, sorry, I kind of forgot what I like where I was going with that. But so stepping into fear and out of faith. And the reason why I chose that is because I was so tired of saying, I'm going to do it tomorrow. I'm going to do it
Mm.
next year. I'm going to do it this. And then I never do it. And I look at it and I'm, almost 36 years into my entire life. And I'm like, oh, like, yeah, I've accomplished quite a bit of things, but I'm like, the things that I really wish I would have taken advantage of. I really wish I would have given the momentum to. I didn't do it. And so the reason why we get propelled forward is because we have a purpose. And I wholeheartedly believe that for me, for 36 years to not do what I was destined to do on this earth because of outside circumstances, because of outside opinions, because of judgment, because of me being, comparing myself to this one and that one, I did a disservice to all of the people that needed my word and needed my action throughout my entire life. And so I said, no more. I am not going to be selfish. I am going to give the people what they need because the people I need to serve are out there and they are listening. And that's it.
Yo, Alexis, you preaching today. We go, oh, you preaching today. Come on now. Oh gosh, I love it. I love it. You know, I want to put a stamp on this here, and I'm gonna give a word as well. Um, I'm just really a big fan of words and connection and what this all looks like. You know, when you talk about that faith piece, I'm just gonna supplement that a little bit because I completely agree. Hold on, I gotta repeat it again. All right, she's Alexis said for the people who's not listening. All right, Alexis said, "Step out of fear and into faith," and
Mm.
I'm gonna add a piece to that. Deserve, because you deserve to. Because you deserve to. If you're thinking about why you're waiting on 2024 and what's next for you and everything like that, why should I start now? X, Y, and Z. Simply deserve, because you deserve to. I can't speak to Alexis's story. I can only speak to mine. And for those listening to us and watching out there on YouTube, well, by the way, be hit that like button, 5-star rating, all that good stuff, leave a review. Besides the point, nevertheless, for all those listening, I can't tell you what your story is, but what I do know is that you've gone through something that has been troubling. You've gone through something that you didn't know if you were going to make it out of or what this was going to look like ultimately. And it's shaped the person who you are today. And recognize the story that you have to tell is one that someone needs to hear, like Alexis was saying. And you deserve everything. Once you start putting in the work, you deserve all the great things coming your way.
Yes. Oh, mic drop on that one.
Come on now, come on now. You know, I had to give at least one mic drop, Alexis, because you've been killing it all. You've been killing it all podcast, Alexis. I was like, I can't have Alexis have all the mic drop moments here. I got to step into at least one of them.
So good. So
Uh,
good.
so Alexis, it's been great having you, and I know the people are wondering how they could get more Alexis Carpenter, some more. Oh, real quick, I need people to understand this. I think this is really cool. Because as you know, this is the Speaker Vision podcast, and this is the We Are Vision of Hope. Not only I am Vision of Hope, but we are Vision of Hope community. And Alexis is the Raising Hope community. So I love how we're having a connection of the hope here in terms of our programs and our businesses. Can you tell the people a bit about Raising Hope and how people can connect and work with you and get all of your content?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Okay. So raising hope for me has been really about bringing the courage, bringing the happiness, the joy, the energy back into not only our personal lives, but also our professional lives. Like we think about it, we spend so much time outside of our homes. And why are we not joyful there? Why are we not happy there? Why are we not sharing kindness? Why are we not leading in the way that our hearts want to be, right? In the way that I want a heart-led leader. I want somebody who's going to lead me in love, who's going to lead me in courage and bravery and all of the things, right? Like I want to serve my people in the best way possible. And that's really what Raising Hope was about. Raising hope that we can change our story no matter what it is, right? No matter that circumstance. Today is one day, tomorrow's a new. So in with the old, out with or in with the new, out with the old, right? And so
Out of the fear into the faith.
yes, yes, we're stepping out of the fear into the faith. We're doing all the things. Um, yeah. So, and really, like that is to my core. Honestly, I was completely blown away when I first got to meet you, and the fact about your business. And I was like, "Ooh, hope is in there," because I'm a big words person too. And I was like, "Okay, this is meant to be. This is meant to be." So, yeah, I just think that there was no better word than the word hope. And why not be raising it at all times? You know, that is where it came from. That is like to my core. I fully believe in that. I actually have tattooed on my arm. I'm like, I don't even know that you can see it, but it says, "Be brave, have hope, show courage." Uh,
Hey, let's
and then
go.
yeah, and so for me, I spend a lot of my time on Instagram. My professional platform is LinkedIn, but you can find me at Alexis M Carpenter on Instagram. I go live there Monday through Friday, and I have been loving that. That's been so fun.
Listen, real quick before you continue, the get ready with me. The lives that Alexis does, lit. All the energy Alexis is bringing to our podcast right now is the same energy you getting at 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. I need y'all to know that. All right. So
you're gonna want to check it out. I'm
Yeah.
sorry,
Oh my gosh.
Alexis. Go ahead.
No, I love that. I love that you join those. I love that you comment. That is what fuels me because I'm just passionate about it. I want to help people, as many people as I can. And so right now, basically what I got, if you want to work with me, I do have like a one-on-one promo going on for the month of November because it's my birthday month. It's Scorpio season, baby. Come on now. And so you can send me a DM on Instagram. I'll get you all the details, or you can just sign up for a free meditation that I did. And it's 4 days where it'll be dripped out to you, 2.5 minutes to tap back into yourself. Because like I said before, you can't serve other people. You can't connect with other people, communicate, or build relationships until you got that with you. And that's it.
I mean, hey, well, and hey, it's No Limit November, right?
Yes, No Limits November.
Let's go. Well, and so if you're thinking about a goal, and you're thinking about waiting, come on now. What better time than No Limit November? So
Yeah, right?
tell us about your No Limit November stuff you got going on, Alexis.
Yeah. Okay. So one of my mentors, Amber Lillystrom, she was like, all right, I'm going to do this No Limits November. I was like, girl, I am on board with that. Let me in. Let me do this. And so really,
I'm breaking down this door. Let me in. Let's
I'm
go.
here.
I'm here.
So like really what it was is, again, it was that fear factor. I was like, oh, I got to go live on Instagram. Like that's terrifying to me. But I love being on stages. I love speaking to people. I love the energy of a live audience. And I remember Jen saying one day, she was like, it's the same thing. You got this in your pocket. Why not pull it out and talk to those people? And I was like, okay, I'm going to do it. I'm going to fear a little less, right? Because we're fearless. Okay.
That's it.
And I did it. And it was so much fun. I was like, no, we're just going in there. We're all Alexis. We're going to bring our whole selves. We're going to do the thing. And it was great. It was like absolutely amazing. And so many people DM'd and they're like, I have these questions. Like, can you tell me this? And it was fun. It was about curiosity and creativity, right? Like that is what life is about. Let's get curious. Let's experiment and let's just have fun. Yeah.
Let's have fun. Let's have fun. all we have is right now. Let's have fun.
Right now.
Oh gosh, this is fantastic. This is fantastic. So many moments on the pod today. I'm gonna run through a few real quickly. It's fear less, people. It's not fear none. Okay. Step out of that fear and into faith, Yeah. And it's right now. We have right now. Appreciate the moments that we have and just be your authentic self. Because once again, your authentic self is your best self. I had to get that. That's mine. And you can get through any resistance with that. That's where it starts. And you can get to wherever it is you want to be. Oh gosh, Alexis, this has been so great. Any last advice, thoughts for the people? Maybe a quote that you would love to share with us?
Okay. Oh gosh, I'm like, I love quotes. Which one do I choose? So let's okay, this one is not mine. I think it's Jen Gottlieb's, but it's start before you're ready. That's been a fave this season of my life. And progress over perfection, right? Like we're not going to be perfect. Let's just start. Yeah.
Come on now. I have nothing else to say. That was fantastic. Start before you're ready, everyone. And with that, Alexis, thank you so much for being here. If you want to get with Alexis and everything like that, all that will be in the description in the comments. This has been fantastic. I was going to have a quote, but I don't have a quote. Just start before you're ready. Everyone, thank you for listening to the Speaker Vision podcast. Another wonderful episode. Alexis, thank you for being here today.
Oh, thank you so much. This has been amazing. And I hope if y'all have questions, send me DMs. I love answering questions. Literally my favorite thing.
And with that, let's have a literal mic drop moment. Have a good one, everybody.
Oh.
When adversity came, I could have fell apart, but I chose instead to follow my heart. When adversity comes, I will never run. I will adjust, adapt, and overcome. Vision.